You've got the career, the income, the respect. So why do you feel nothing? Why does Sunday night fill you with dread? Why do you lie awake wondering, is this really it? You're not burned out. You're not ungrateful. You're not broken. You're just khali, empty, hollow, or vacant. Successful on the outside, but empty on the inside. So let me give you some data. Over the last year and a bit, we surveyed 3,500 Muslims almost from 101 different countries. And this is what we found 81% said that they're not operating at their peak potential. But 66% said they actually understand what Allah expects from them. 58% even said they've got clarity about their life purpose. But only 34% were aligning their daily actions with their values. And only 17% said that they're operating at their potential. So from having a 66% understanding to only a 17% living it, that's 49-point collapse. So why is this? Why do Muslims feel lost? Well, the first answer is that no one actually showed you your role. So we were never really taught our true purpose beyond, I have created man and jinn to worship me. And we don't really know how to apply this practically. That's why a lot of people said, oh yeah, I know what my purpose is, because we're taught that from the Quran. But what does that mean in real life? Another reason is that we don't actually know ourselves beyond a superficial level. So we don't really understand what we're good at or passionate about, let alone what role we've been created for. What we really know about ourselves is, oh yeah, this is my job, or this is what I like, but nothing deeper than that. We don't really know our calling. Another reason is that we're surviving and we're not building anything. We're living day to day. We don't really have a grand vision driving us forward. We're kept so busy by the day to day work and earning money that we can't figure out how all of our experiences and our skills connect. One reason is fear. We can't figure out, or we're too fearful to take the right action to make something happen for ourselves and to move forward to achieving the mission that we need to achieve. And often we're just in our own way. Sometimes we're holding ourselves back, sometimes we're being held back by other forces, by parents, by society. These are the things. And honestly, a lot of this isn't actually your own fault. Society didn't actually want this for you. School taught you to get a job. They didn't tell you this is you have a purpose, you have to discover what that is, you've got a certain assignment. And maybe your parents just wanted success and status, not mission. Mission doesn't pay the bills. The system also benefits from your confusion because distracted people are easier to control. Purposeless people actually consume more. They're trying to distract themselves with entertainment and other things. You're never actually given the infrastructure. There was no roadmap, no systems, no real support. So you're bound to fail, even if you're successful. So the key insight from all this data is that this is not really a faith crisis. This is actually an infrastructure crisis. From the data, we learned that 82% of people said that they lack a clear roadmap. 61% said they lack daily systems to follow. 58% said that they carry unresolved regret. So they have no idea how all of the experiences connect towards something. So the problem isn't really belief, it's not really motivation, it's not really effort, because 76% said that they are willing to leave their comfort zone. 49% said they are already taking action. So the bottleneck here is systematic infrastructure. And that's exactly what this community, this program, what we do here is all about. So what's the destination? What we're trying to do? Essentially this, Khalifa. We're trying to take you from Khali to Khalifa. And Khalifa, what does Khalifa mean? Allah's representative on earth. Appointed, aligned, purposeful. So Khali to Khalifa. This is the journey. So most Muslims fit in one of these four categories. You have on the bottom left hand uh, side the pure Khali. There's little action and there's little connection as well. So they're just drifting with that direction. Some people, they have the connection, they're spiritual, but they're taking no action at all. They're devout but disengaged, and I call them the monk. Then we have a lot of people who are actually super successful. They've taken a lot of action, they've got money, they've got credentials, they've got status, and yet they feel empty, they feel misaligned, they feel, you know, in crisis, existing in crisis. And that's, I call them the sultan, because the connection is weak, and so that's why they don't have meaning. They don't have meaning behind what they're doing. They're achieving without alignment. So all three of these are just different forms of Khali. So there's only one that is Khalifa, which is the balanced, purposeful, and powerful, strong faith and connection to Allah, and strong action, which is impact on creation. So as I mentioned, three of these are just different versions of empty. Only one is where you're meant to be. So how do you get there? Good question. The first reframe that you need to have is that everyone talks about finding your purpose. That's the buzzword. That's very trendy nowadays. Even companies are jumping on the bandwagon. But finding your purpose is a secular way. It's the Western way. Um, because finding your purpose is something that you choose and based on what you want and what you're all about. It's very self-centered, very me. But discovering your what we need to understand is that what we're here to do is to discover your divine duty. This is something that is being encoded within you. This is based on divine design and assigned to you by God. And this is you returning to your true self, your fitrah. This is all about service. What can you do for others? And this is all about how do you turn your work into worship. And this is not just about fulfillment and happiness, even though they are byproducts. This is all about alignment and impact and accountability. And the idea is that this is what is the key to you fulfilling your potential. So, that's just an important distinction to make or keep in mind, that this is not just about finding your purpose. You will find purpose, but the right language is what we're trying to do here is to discover the duty that you've been sent here for. Because once you uh, go down that path, that's where you'll start feeling alignment and energized, because this is how you're designed. And there's another mechanism that is at play here, which is the mechanism that Allah mentioned in the Quran that defines all transformation. You have in Surah Jummah, He mentions four names: Al Malik, which means submission, no, which means king; Al Qudus, which means purification; Al Aziz, which means empowerment; and Al Hakim, which means wisdom. So the first thing is we have to submit to the King of all kings. This is bit, it's not going to be you that achieves XYZ. It's going to be through his will. So we have to understand that, which is again, it's a departure from how the West looks at things. The second thing is that on the journey, you're going to be cleansed, you're going to be purified, you're going to be tested, and go through a lot of difficulties, because what's going to be taken from you through these difficulties is everything that's not serving you, that everything that's not aligned to you becoming who you need to become. Then you start the process of empowerment and becoming stronger in your purpose, and then it all integrates. This is where wisdom comes in place, and it all starts to make sense. So this is the journey, and this is what we've factored in to the program and how we've designed your experience here. So this is why we exist. So we're called No. And we're inspired by this verse in the Quran, in chapter 39, verse 9, are those who know equal to those who do not know. So this is just a really cool name or anything. It's actually our mandate. This is why we exist. So Allah has made it very clear that there's a distinction between those who don't know and those who do know. And so essentially, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to take you from not knowing to knowing, hence the name of the community. The most important thing to know is your Lord. But the way to know your Lord is to know your purpose. And the way to know your purpose is to know yourself. So this is essentially what we'll be doing on this journey, inshallah. And part of and this is why you're going to be if you're on this journey, you're going to be classified as a knower. There's someone who's on the journey from Khali to Khalifa. And how we differentiate, or how we define a knower, is someone who sees, seeks, and speaks the truth. So someone who seeks the truth is a lifelong learner, someone who is open-minded and hungry for knowledge and wants to learn. That's very important. Then someone who sees the truth, someone who can discern between truth and falsehood, a critical thinker. Because again, for you to do what you need to do, you need to not necessarily conform. You need to break free and do what might feel uncomfortable. So someone who sees the truth. And then someone who can speak the truth, someone who's courageous, who is, because again, this is the path to live by your own purpose. You need to speak your own truth first and foremost before anything else. So this is what it means to seek, seek, and speak the truth. So let me introduce you to how we take you through this transformation and this journey, and that's called the Know Your Purpose program. And this is the journey from Khali to Khalifa through these 5 stages. So it's there's 5 core frameworks that we take you through in these stages. So the first stage, which you can see with Malcolm X at the bottom there, so this is all about giving you meaning, because before you can do anything, you need to understand the meaning and the why behind what you're doing. So why are we told to pray? Why are we told to keep good ties, etc., etc.? So we need to provide context behind everything. So this is what the foundations are all about, to know your overall purpose. So we're not just living lackadaisically or day to day. So that's what phase 1 essentially is all about, taking you from misery to meaning. Again, very important, because one of the things that they've targeted most in this day and age is that there's an attack on meaning. This is why young people are, in depression, because nothing means anything. We have this nihilistic worldview that nothing means anything, but that's not the case. Everything has got meaning, and this is what this stage is all about. Then we go into you understanding yourself, because again, we've all been given a mission, but the clues lie in yourself. You're not going to look externally; you're going to look internally. And so we've have this a framework that we've put together, where you are essentially understanding yourself from 8 different components. So you're looking at things like your personality types, your natural abilities, things that you're passionate about, things that your experiences that you've been through in your life, knowledge that you've gathered, etc., etc. So the idea is that you're collecting all of this data, and when you see it all gathered, it starts painting a picture. The patterns start showing up, and you start seeing some dots start to connect. And so this is what this phase 2 is all about. Then we get to phase 3. So this is where we start taking all this data that we've mined in phase 2, and we start connecting it towards, now, what does that mean for your mission here on Earth? What is your overall mission? Who are you here to serve? You have to serve someone and a group of people. So who are they? And what is your unique gift? That how are you going to serve using your unique gift? What actual work are you going to do? And how are you going to monetize it? And again, when we say monetize here, it might mean how you're going to sustain yourself while living this purpose, because purpose is mandatory. It might be that your purpose is something that you can't monetize, in which case your day-to-day job takes on new meaning. That becomes the thing that funds your purpose, but whilst you do your purpose in your spare time. Or, in a lot of cases, your purpose is something that you can monetize. In which case, how do you then live by that and turn that into a business or into something that is sustainable? So that's what we go through in phase 3. Then phase 4. So now that you have complete clarity about your purpose, you're going to come across a lot of obstacles in the pursuit of this purpose. So this is where we start tackling some of the enemies, the obstacles, and start giving you breakthroughs. There's 5 enemies that we go over, which in a framework that we call Dushman. D-U, Dunya, S-H, Shaitan, M for mindset, Al-Hawa, which is the desires, and Nafs, which is our ego. And we go especially deep into mindset. So in mindset, especially, we go into fear, laziness, overthinking, anxiety, traumas, and we've got many frameworks for a lot of these things. So you've got all these mental models to deploy whenever you're struggling or you need to make a decision, etc., etc. So that's what the stage through phase 4. That, like I said, we believe that living by a purpose is mandatory, and so therefore why we exist is to give you as many tools and techniques and tricks as possible for you to be able to get unstuck whatever you may be struggling with. So that's what phase 4 is about. And phase 5 is all about implementation. How do you now live by this day to day? How do you bring this into your life and are productive and live by it? So we have another framework here which gives you a long-term view where you're heading towards. How do you reverse engineer that end goal to what does that look like in terms of your actions today? How do you add urgency to this mission? How do you break it down into micro actions? And then how do you build systems in your life? So we're going to teach you to build 7 different systems that keep you supported on the way, inshallah. And so the idea is that by the end of this journey, you are someone who is on that road to becoming Khalifa, inshallah. So in terms of tangible outcomes, I would say to you that these are the things that you get. You will have complete clarity about your purpose. Phase 2 and phase 3 they exist for that reason. For you to have, you can articulate it in one sentence. My purpose is X, Y, Z. Another key tangible is to overcome all your obstacles. So this is phase 4, the breakthrough stage. And you'll also be able to implement. So you'll be able to build systems and live by it, phase 5. So these are your core tangible outcomes that you come out of this program. And like I said, it doesn't just show you purpose, it builds the infrastructure that that the data's told you was missing to make sure that you live by it. So we've got roadmaps in there, we've got systems in there, we've got templates in there, we've got worksheets in there, accountability. We've got a GPT that we've trained on all models just to synthesize and help you to connect the dots easier. So we've tried to make this as comprehensive as possible, and so it really assists you and eats your complexity. It makes your journey easier. I've been working on this project for years and years and years, alhamdulillah. And the idea was, how do we, to be authentic to this journey, I don't want to just take Western concepts and then put them in Islamic language. No, we need something that is rooted in the Quran, rooted in the Sunnah, or in prophetic patterns, or in history, or on nature and science. What we need, our own language, we need our own worldview and our own infrastructure. That's why this stuff has taken so long. But alhamdulillah, it's I'm glad that we've done it this way, because the result is extremely authentic, extremely powerful, and it it achieves the transformation of making you aligned. So there's another thing that you'll be doing as you go through this program, and you'll be filling in something called the Khalifa Blueprint. So there's 5 pieces to this blueprint, and there's 5, you can say, breakthroughs that you unlock as you proceed through the program. Just to make it quite exciting, I've called it the 5 stones. And the idea is that as you complete each phase, you're collecting a stone. So you have the covenant stone when you complete phase 1, and that's almost like a signed covenant, a signed commitment to Allah. And then you have the encoding stone. So this is where you finally understood who he designed you to be. So once you can articulate then you've collected that stone. Then you have your compass stone. Where is he pointing you? So when you complete phase 3, you'll know that. Then you have the battle stone. What you realize, okay, these are the main problems in my life that I need to overcome, and this is how I'm going to do it, etc., etc. You have a very clear plan. And then you have the practice stone, which is when you complete stage 5. How do you make it inevitable? What you're going to live by? What's your daily rhythm, etc. So this is what the blueprint will contain, which I want you to complete it all. And so the idea is that they come at the end of each phase, and it's each is a piece of the puzzle. So before phase 1 begins, there's 2 things for you to complete. I want to share my own purpose story with you, so you know who's guiding you on this journey. And the second thing is I want to take action. And then the journey to get your first stone awaits, inshallah. So your purpose is waiting, and from Khali to Khalifa. And I pray that Allah puts barakah on this journey for you. And I look forward to working with you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.